It is almost time for my most anticipated game of the year, Star Wars Outlaws. Ubisoft have very kindly gifted me a code ahead of the release so I could try it out, could try all the accessibility features, I can play a bit of the story, and I'm so thankful. So thank you to Ubisoft. I'm so excited. I literally can't explain how excited I am for this game. Anyone that knows me knows I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but there's something about this game. I've literally been hyped for it since they showed the trailer, the Ubisoft Forward back in June. The role-playing, open-world, single-player game that I have been hoping for. And so I've been so excited to get stuck in. I've been fiending for this game. Any game where you get a little companion, a little pet, I'm just gonna get sucked in. Like that's the only marketing tactic you have to use for me, is just give yourself like a little pal, little companion, little sidekick, little pet, and I'm in. That's all it took. That's what got me into World of Warcraft. I come to you from an Airbnb that I'm staying at with friends to basically tell you all about the accessibility features within this game. And there are so many. We all know that Ubisoft always puts so much thought into their accessibility and continue to do more and more each game, and this is no exception. So let's get into it. Something Ubisoft have been doing for a few titles now is that upon opening the game, you are literally thrown headfirst into the accessibility options. And this game is no exception. You open the game and on startup, you get an option to either start a new game, so just go in, don't even look at accessibility stuff, or you can go to their accessibility presets and go through every single option, every single menu, every single preset before you even start up the game. The first menu you come to is the gameplay menu. Here you come to the options for what most people would call the difficulty options. The Ubisoft have, I don't know if this is the first Ubisoft title to do this, but it's the first time I've seen it in a game. It's not called the difficulty level, they call it the game experience. It takes the elitism out of gaming, and I am all for that. Basically, I'm just tired of people acting like if you play on the hardest difficulty, that is the only way to play a game, and just have fun. Games are there for fun. So it's very nice that it is not difficulty levels, it is how you want to play, which is exactly how it should be. They have a description for each one to show you what experience it will bring, and then it sort of categorizes it by which parts will be more difficult depending on which option you are picking. So this got categories such as like your health, like how much health will you have, how difficult will be enemy health, like how difficult will the mini games be. So it's very, very detailed in that you know exactly what you're getting in for when you start up your game. And the huge thing that I love is you can also change these options throughout your gameplay. So if you're having like a bad fatigue day, or you've used up all your spoons for that day, and you can just go into the menu and change the experience as you wish, depending on how you want to play that day. Maybe you really want a challenge, maybe you just want to coast through the story and like find out more about the world. Being able to change the difficulty level whilst you're playing in games is becoming a more popular thing, and I love it. It is one of my favorite things that is happening in games right now, just because selfishly it really helps me. Sometimes I want really challenging combat, other times I just want to sit there and just coast around the world, like, you know, just depending on what I'm doing that day. Within the gameplay preset menu, there is also the motor and camera presets, and the motor presets gives you even more options, like even more of a breakdown about the mini games involved in Star Wars Outlaws, and also just various options regarding using less button pushing and less hand movement. And the camera presets allow you to change stuff like screen shake, the amount of motion blur, and also allow you to add a center dot for motion sickness and migraines, and also allow you to add a center dot depending on whether you deal with motion sickness or migraines from video games. The next menu you come to is the cognitive preset menu, which just features a whole range of options for people with cognitive disabilities. There are a range of options for replacing symbols within the game. I haven't got this far into the game yet to see them, but what I can gather is that it is basically symbols that represent something in the world on these little cards, and if you don't like that, you can just have it as like owl numerical symbols instead of these made-up alien symbols. You can change the difficulties of minigames and also change when the heads-up display would show, whether you want it on at all times, just contextually. I have it on at all times because my memory is absolutely terrible, and so I just like having the information on at all times. However, my favorite option in here was being able to show how often you want button prompts to show. So basically, if you put the game down, you come back to it in a few weeks or in a few months, and you can't remember any of the controls, you can choose whether you want it to prompt you every time, just sometimes. And I've got it turned on to every time, because if I'm playing multiple games at once, I can't keep the controls straight in my head, and so it just makes it easier to just have them there on the screen anytime I do an action, and then I'm never going to forget, because otherwise I have to sit there and I have to Google each like combat combination and what interact with, and instead I can just have it right there on the screen. The next menu you come to is the color menu, which has various presets for various types of color blindness, and you can sort of scroll through them and see what they would look like. And then the next menu is the vision preset menu. In here you can turn high contrast mode on and off, and also they have various different types of high contrast mode. And also something a lot of games don't necessarily have, but seems to be becoming more popular wonderfully, is audio description for the game. You can also change text and heads up display size here, and also change how you want the heads up display to be displayed. Do you want it to have a background, etc.? How large do you want it? And then the next menu is the hearing preset menu, which mostly consists of subtitle options and also visual cues for the lockpicking minigame, because this game seems to be based off of like a rhythm. And although it does have a visual cue through a light, like a flashing light, so you can also see the rhythm as well as hear it, if you turn this on, it adds an extra visual cue. And throughout the entire menu process, as you're going through it, you can turn on menu narration with the click of a button. On Xbox, it was right trigger. You can just literally just flick it on and off. So as long as you know that it is there, you can literally just turn it on and off as needed. So as long as you know that it's available, you can literally turn it on as soon as you get into the menus. You can also access all of these options throughout your gameplay, which is you can also access all of these options throughout your gameplay just from the settings menu. You don't have to back out. You don't have to restart. They are literally just all available to you from the settings menu in-game, which is really handy as you start playing the game and you learn what works for you. For instance, one of your little companion Nix's abilities is stealing. You can go send him to steal from people. And part of the mechanic from that is that you have to also do a quick time event. However, you can turn that off. And obviously you would not know that until you get into the game. And so it's great that you can just go into the menu and just adapt while you play. If you don't like quick time events, or if you're unable to do quick time events in the time that it gives you, you can just go and turn it off. The only thing I would say is that it does not allow you to change the amount of time for the quick time event. Like, it would have been good if you could have like short, normal, long, and change the amount of time it gives you for the quick time event, which you can't do. It is really just, it is what it is, or it is off. So that's one thing that it doesn't have. So the option is either like you have it as it is, or you just don't do it altogether. And so I think giving options for the time, like we've seen in other games, would have been really good. But overall, Ubisoft have worked really hard on the accessibility of this game. When I found out this game was an Ubisoft game, I knew that they were going to do everything they could within accessibility. And so I'm very thankful for that. And thank you, Ubisoft, for letting me play the game early. I genuinely love this game. I'm not just saying that because I got the code. I genuinely have been enjoying it. However, as you can see, I am currently away, so I've been playing on my poor little gaming laptop, and I didn't bring the correct charger with me, so it's struggling. It's struggling to run it, but I've done what I can, and so it's been really good so far. I played about 2 hours, and I'm really enjoying it. And so let me know, are you excited for the game? Are you planning to play it? What parts are you hyped for? And also, yeah, just let me know below, and I'll see you next time.